Welcome to the Brave Woman at Work podcast. This is your host, Jen Pasticas. I'm so glad you're here. With the Brave Woman at Work podcast, you'll get the resources and tips along with real-world stories and humor to empower and inspire you to take bolder and braver actions in your career and life. Welcome to the Brave Women at Work podcast. This is your host, Jen Pasticas. I'm so glad you're here. Well, hey everyone, how are you doing out there? So this week I am featuring just a dear repeat guest, Neen James. So you can kind of feel it in my energy. I'm really excited to have her on today. She herself is a wonderful energizer bunny. She's self-proclaimed. I loved having her on the show. She just brings so much goodness to our conversations. And this time we chatted about her book that just launched this very week as this podcast goes live. I think it was earlier this week, October 14th, 2025, as we record. The book is called Exceptional Experiences, 5 Luxury Levers to Elevate Every Aspect of Your Business. And Neen made such an impression. I had her speak at my corporate organization, I don't know, probably 8 years ago, maybe 10, I don't even know. She sent me as a thank you gift a little bit of luxury, and she's always kind of left me kind of wondering and wanting. And I'm so glad that she's dug even deeper into luxury mindset, luxury work. She sent me, dear listeners, a beautiful Tiffany teacup, like an actual cup for coffee. And it was the Tiffany blue. And I still have it in my cabinet in my kitchen. And I bring it out every now and again. And it makes me think of her immediately. What an exceptional experience that she created in that. And so anytime she's like, I have something new. I'm like, yes, Neen, come on back to Brave Women at Work. And so during this particular show, Neen and I chatted about just kind of catching up. It's been a long time since we've had her on the show, how her latest book baby came to be, what the term luxury means to Neen, and how the word luxury can be misconstrued. It can get a bad rap out there. And so we wanted to normalize it. We wanted to make it feel good for everybody listening. An overview of the 5 luxury levers and how they lead to exceptional experiences, like the one I gave you with the teacup example. Neen's research on luxury mindset, and then how you can personally determine which luxury mindset category you fit. And spoiler alert, I talk kind of about my own and, trying to stretch and grow from where I came from to where I am now. And we talk about how does this apply? Her subtitle of the book is about business. I also wanted to tie it into leadership. So how this information can be applied to leadership at any level. So if you would like to listen to my chat, with Neen, which is super energizing, super fun, joyful, and it feels like we're kind of busting in on an old friend chat, listen into this one. So here is more about Neen. Neen James, MBA, CSP, is a force to be reckoned with in the world of leadership strategy and keynote speaking. As the author of Folding Time, Attention Pays, and Exceptional Experiences, Neen inspires leaders and organizations to create extraordinary connections and experiences that drive results and leave lasting impressions. Recently named to the board of the World Luxury Chamber of Commerce, her proprietary research into luxury mindset, the only study of its kind, sets her apart as a leading expert in delivering world-class client and employee experiences. Named one of the top leadership speakers by global gurus multiple years in a row, Neen's practical strategies and infectious Aussie sass make her a favorite among corporate audiences and meeting planners alike, who often call her the Energizer Bunny. From being a confidant to Fortune 500 CEOs to empowering executive leaders responsible for revenue, Neen is known for her ability to blend actionable insights with an engaging delivery style, helping leaders to achieve greater focus, communications, and influence. Whether she's helping brands elevate their current client experiences or inspiring leaders to drive measurable results, Neen's mission is clear: to help people stand out, lead with impact, and create exceptional moments that matter. Offstage, you will find her often savoring her unofficial role as a champagne taste tester, true story, and spreading Aussie joy wherever she goes. So, if Brave Women at Work and the podcast continue to help you personally or professionally, spread the good word, my friends. Spread the good word with a family member, a friend, a colleague. Let's spread it all over the globe. And of course, as you know, your ratings and reviews help the show continue to gain traction and just, again, get the good word out there. So, if you can be so kind as to hit the plus button to get the show weekly into your feed if you don't have it already, and then leave a rating and review, I would appreciate you. So, thank you so much for your support. Also, if you haven't been listening lately or this is your first time listening, I have a really cool new tool that I've created. So I get myself into trouble, everybody. I like kind of come up with these little dreams, and then all of a sudden I find all these people to help me make them a reality. So the newest little fun creation that's come out of my brain and into the world is a Brave Women at Work affirmation deck. And again, it's not 52 cards, it's 54 card deck. That is not a typo or a misstatement. It's a 54 card deck. It's a beautiful compilation of advice and hard-won wisdom from podcast guests. So I often on my show will say right at the end, it's kind of tradition, how can women be braver at work? And so I pose that same question to my podcast guests once again from Brave Women at Work anthology authors. So we're almost at 50 women. Can you believe that? 50 women have been authors in the Brave Women at Work anthology series and growing, and even community members from all over the world. And so we put all of that beautiful wisdom into the 54 card deck. And you can get that on my website for $19.99 plus $10 in shipping, domestic US. And if you're listening to this across the pond in any direction and all over the world, just send me a message at hello@bravewomenatwork.com and I will connect with you and we'll figure out like how to get you a deck. And so again, you can purchase it at my website at bravewomenatwork.com. And now, drum roll please, I also have it on Etsy. So if you prefer to purchase on Etsy or that's where you do some of your shopping, go check them out there. All right, let's welcome Neen to the show. Well, hey, Neen, welcome back to Brave Women at Work. How are you today?
G'day, gorgeous. What a treat to be invited back. You have some of my favorite people on your show, Tams and Webster. I feel like I'm in such great company today.
Oh my God, you guys, we're having a party over here already. So like you're gonna hear lots of laughter, I'm sure. Just like, like Neen's favorite thing is champagne, one of her favorite things. And I think that it like really reflects your personality. I don't know. I'm really excited. I think this conversation is gonna have good grounding, but bubbly and light. What do you think?
I love that. And there's even a muesli on the front cover of my new book. Like that is
Oh,
how.
there is. I didn't see that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay,
Secret.
so yeah, we wove it all in. We wove the champagne all in. Okay, so we know we have a book we're going to talk about today. What are some other fun things? Like you were one of my like probably first 25 to 30 guests. So you said yes when like I just did you know that? Yeah. Yeah.
So
So you
to
were
be
like I was like
one
reaching
of
out
the
to
original.
people. I know you were one of the OGs. And what's so funny is people were like, how are you going to find people? And I'm like, I'm going to reach out to everyone I know and I'm going to ask. And you said yes. So thank you, Neen.
My privilege. Are you kidding? I love what you're doing in the world. And I think the way that your message resonates with women who really want to be braver at work, who want to do all of those things, the brave framework that you share with people on your website is genius. So I'm really proud to be associated with what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. So why don't you tell us, like, I know we've got the book. I know you've been really busy. I know, like, we're going to talk about what are some other fun things that have been happening since we last talked? It's been a while.
Gosh, since we chatted about attention pays, I got deeper and deeper into consulting with luxury and legacy brands. So you know that I'm a confidant to many CEOs of the luxury and legacy brands.
Yes.
And I've always believed, Jen, that luxury is a mindset. And what I did was I couldn't find any research on that though. So then I commissioned my own research study, the only one of its kind in the world on luxury as
Wow.
a mindset. And so what that allowed me to then do was say, okay, well, there's not one luxury mindset. There's actually four, which we unpack in the book. And then I was like, okay, so if that's true, what's all these lessons I could share from all of the luxury brands I've been working with? And there's these principles of customization and personalization. We know luxury when we see it. And I thought, how does the everyday leader apply that to themselves, to their organization, to their team? And so that's what sort of led me to this whole discovery process. And then, as you know, the new book, Exceptional Experiences. So still speaking around the world, still consulting to some phenomenal brands. And yeah, at the same time, the new book.
Okay, so it's one thing to commission the study, and maybe you always knew you were going to turn it into a book, but sometimes
Mhm.
no. Sometimes it's just part
I
of
didn't.
consulting or coaching or the
Mhm.
executive work you do. So was
Right.
there like this like trip, like this trigger trip in your brain where you're like, "Yep, I got to turn this into a book." What was that about?
No, because here's the thing that don't tell anyone, but I hate writing. Like, don't tell anyone. And so, but when I did the research study, what was fascinating was the clients, I needed to have my own thought leadership. And you know how we quote other people's studies? Now
Yes.
people are quoting my study. And that was, for
Cool.
me, what was really cool about that was I wanted to truly own this whole luxury client experience. So the research study was the first step. My clients loved it. And then I said to them, well, you've got to be able to speak the luxury language of clients you want to attract. So then I created a luxury language dictionary for them. And they were like, Nina, which one am I? So then we established a self-assessment, which all of your viewers and listeners can take. I'll send you the link. You can put in the show notes. It takes
Yes.
like 5 minutes. It's free.
Yeah.
But what we found was so many people were asking about it. And I would have this line of people at the end of the keynote, and they're like, tell me more, tell me more. And then page two, so founded by two incredibly brave women. So these two women said to me, you need to write a book about this. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But they have been absolutely delightful, made the whole process incredible. So I'm very proud to be represented by them because they have this female team that is off the charts. Amazing. So that's how the book
Wow.
came into the world because of them.
Wow. Okay, so let's back up because some people are like, yeah, 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 you guys have rushed in, but they don't know who you are, right? So we know you're Australian. We know you love champagne. We know you've been a longtime speaker. Like, how did that come to be? Just for my people that haven't had the privilege of hearing your voice, your lovely voice before.
Well, I sound like I'm five to people who are listening for the first time. So let's just put that on the table right now. I'm 4'10" and a half. That half matters. This is very important. You'll always see me in hot pink, another part of the process. But I grew up in corporate business in Australia, Jen. I worked in retail, banking, telecommunications, and the oil industry. There were not a lot of chicks in oil when I was there.
Yeah.
But as a client experience expert, what I'm obsessed with is creating these moments that matter. And so, what I want is, I want everyone on the planet to feel seen and heard. And that's always been the basis of my work. And so a lot of my meeting planners call me the Energizer Bunny because I'm paid to bring my energy to the keynote stage. And when I'm consulting with my CEOs and those at a board table level, they're looking for someone who can have a very global perspective. Being an Australian, that helps, but also a local perspective because I became an American citizen. I don't know if you know that. So
Oh,
not only do I sound like I'm five, I'm like the oldest of five, but I've found that a lot of the challenges my clients were having is they wanted to be able to differentiate their brand. They wanted to be able to grow their market share. They wanted to be able to capture the attention of clients, but they just weren't being able to do it in such a competitive way. And so what I realized is my approach to the world, my body of work, has been able to provide a playbook for them to be able to do that. So this book I'm really proud of because it's all of these years of consulting, and it really just is the evolution of my body of work. And see, Jen, the reason I do what I do, I just want every person on the planet to feel seen, heard, and valued. And I think
mm.
luxury brands do that better than anyone else. So I simply took all my lessons and I popped them in a book. And that's what I keynote about. And that's what I consult about.
I just love your energy. Can you come with me all day, every day? It's so fun. Okay, so that helped answer another question, like why luxury? Well, I
Mhm.
think you as everyone, I've had Neen speak at my corporate organization. Like we've
So
known
good.
each other. How long have we known each other? Like 10
I
years
was
now?
trying to think of that before we got on the call. I've been in the US for 20 years now, honey. So it goes back a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long, long way. But I always, when I see you in person, or like, I do think like luxury, like you want moments that matter. Like you want to live moments that matter. Go
Right.
follow Neen's Instagram, by the way, because it's just like lovely, right? Like all the places you're going and like the moments that you're capturing.
Real life. Like that's like you know how people have like just like a highlight reel. Like this is like I get to do what I love with people I love in places I love. I mean, come on. Like it's what I call a champagne moment, right? So hashtag
Yes.
champagne moment, right? Things that you take this ordinary and you make it extraordinary. And it just brings me joy. And so I'd love to connect with people on Instagram. That's definitely my favorite place to
I know
connect.
I saw, I'm like, that's where her jam is. That's like where she's living. So, okay, so that we'll start and end the book with the title. So it's called Exceptional Experiences, 5 Luxury Levers to Elevate Every Aspect of Your Business. And we're also going to extend that today in our conversation on leadership, right? Like,
For
because
sure.
business and leadership are like completely interwoven. So why don't we take a step back? We're going to put the quote or the assessment in there. What do you say is like a luxury mindset? Because some people might be like, luxury mindset. Maybe they aren't into champagne like you and I are. Maybe they aren't
Yeah.
like into champagne moments. So like, let's get them like neutralized to say like, oh yeah, I want what they're having. So what is a luxury mindset?
Here's the thing, Jen. I think the word luxury can be quite divisive. I think
Yes.
that there's, to me, let me give you my definition. I think luxury is inclusive and exclusive. But here's what I
Mm,
mean by that. Luxury is inclusive because I believe everyone deserves it every day. The principles of luxury. It's
mhm,
exclusive because we can provide these red carpet experience moments for our clients, for our teams, and for ourselves. And
mhm,
so, what I did when I found the luxury mindset research study, here's the thing, Jen, there were so many studies on how does luxury make people feel. And it's lovely. That's great. We all know how nice it is to sleep in lovely sheets or use a
mm,
fabulous bath
mhm.
towel or smell a delicious thing. I already knew all that. What I wanted to know is because I'm consulting to CEOs, I could just walk into their office and go, so luxury's mindset, okay? They were like, get out of here, right? I needed evidence.
Yeah.
What I wanted to know was how does luxury affect our decision making? Who affects our decision making? How long does it take to make a decision? How does it affect our confidence? How does it affect our professional development? And we focused this whole study too. There's a specific element on just for business women. And so there's a whole research study I can give you that just for
Mhm.
women. But one of the things that I thought found was really interesting is despite the fact that there's not one mindset, there's four. What all four mindsets agreed, two things. Luxury is a reward for hard work. And
Mm.
my favorite, which I believe to be true before I even saw the study, is luxury is about experiences, not things. Too often people think it's the designer bag or the fancy car or the expensive hotel. And in fact, luxury is the experience. It could be that you meditate a little longer. It could be that you sip your matcha or your coffee out of a beautiful coffee
Mm.
mug instead of just, that cheap plastic thing that you have. It's about bringing
Mm.
luxury into the everyday, Jen, because I do believe everyone deserves it. It's just that we look at luxury differently. So a luxury mindset is knowing that you are worth the investment of time, attention, resources, or energy, and being able to find whatever your luxury is. Now, the book has so many systems of elevation that anyone can apply, and it's got examples manufacturing, medical, media, hoteliers. Like, there's a very diverse range of industries that I have the privilege of serving. So, you don't have to be a luxury product to provide a luxury experience.
Okay, that is really important. And one thing that my mind's going in a million directions, but for women, the reason I think it could be divisive for women is it goes down to worthiness. Like you said, something so critical. I feel worthy of having a luxury experience. So rather than grabbing like the McDonald's cup to throw your coffee in, like you get a beautiful, like, okay, you may not remember this, but you sent me after our first, when we had you sent me a Tiffany's
Tiffany
coffee
coffee
mug.
mug.
Yep.
I
See,
remember.
See, and I still have it. And I'll like when I want to feel fancy, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put
To what?
my.
But here's the thing, you can feel fancy every day, like just by putting your coffee in that
I'm
little
serious.
Tiffany
I'm
mug.
serious. Yes,
I know.
exactly,
Yeah. So I
exactly.
think
So yeah.
women especially need to get this message, and I'll tell you why. Because I think women are role models, not just for the family in which they serve, the community in which they serve, but in their roles at work. They are constantly being watched, whether it is young
Mm,
women that you're grooming, your colleagues who run alongside you, or leadership. But what I want is for women to realize that those few extra moments, that little bit of extra care, allows them to be an even stronger role model, right? Because that confidence that comes from luxury, 60% of people in my survey said luxury made them feel more confident.
mm,
Mind blowing to me,
mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Because you're worth it. And that's the thing. And we all know how that feels. You put on that outfit, your A outfit, that outfit that you're like, I got this. right?
Yeah.
You know, you step out into the world more confidently. And then if you put on that B outfit that you're like, oh, everything's at the dry cleaners or it's in the washing, so I'm just going to stick, you fiddle with your clothes all day, you're tugging at yourself, you don't feel like you're 100% your bravest, most confident self. I don't want people
Yes.
to choose the B outfits. I want the A outfits. That's luxury. Luxury is a
Okay.
mindset because you deserve it. It's how you think about yourself and how you're showing up in the world. And for my brands, it's about how they are elevating the client experience.
Okay, so because I want them to go take the assessment because I want to get into more of the content. I want everyone to get the book first, but I'm going to give them some spoilers on the book. But there are four mindsets you mentioned. Let's just mention them. Let's not go super deep. We'll do like run through and then
Yeah.
go find your own and then tag Neen and I on Instagram and tell us. We want to know like what we find out. Go and get the assessment. Okay, so what are the four mindsets?
So the first one is our reluctant and removed. They think luxury is hard. They think brands don't understand them. They're busy and they're overwhelmed and stressed. So they're like, I don't have time for luxury. Doesn't mean they can't enjoy it, Jen. It's just not a priority.
Okay.
The second is the pro-prioritizer. The pro-prioritizer is probably many, many women listening to your podcast, where they believe luxury is power, meaning they use it for their career and their reputation and advancement. They believe in mentoring and professional development. But what they want from brands, they want sustainability, they want reliability. And so when you're speaking their luxury language, that's what's really important to them. The third is the confident and content. They say, you know what, I got this. They don't need luxury, but here's how they use luxury. They love luxury to create memories with people that they love. So when you're speaking their language, it's about how they use those experiences for the betterment of other people. And then the fourth of the luxury mindsets is called the luxury lover. Now, the luxury lover, you can see immediately because this is the person who says, I'm worth it. Luxury for everyone, every day. And what they believe in is they believe in sharing it. Now, here's why it's important as a leader to know this mindset and as a brand, because luxury lovers have the biggest mouths. They are fantastic as advocates for you and your brand. Now, what you want to do to speak their luxury language is to use words like exclusive, behind the scenes access. They love that private. They love to be first. So the four mindsets are the reluctant and the removed, the pro-prioritizer, the confident and content, and the luxury lover. And when you go and fill out that luxury mindset self-assessment on the website, it'll take you less than 5 minutes. It'll give you not only a detailed email about your style, but it'll give you suggestions for your professional development and confidence as well.
Okay, so I have to say something there, and then we'll get more into the current book content, but I think it's all in there probably as well. So it's interesting. I'm giving you ideas for the future. I'm like, man, how would this play out in teams? So, for example, I'm more of a reluctant removed, right? I'm still earning my worthiness for luxury. I'm aspiring. My husband is a luxury lover. So I'll just give you a quick joke. So he's the guy with like the black card, like he has to have the tag, like the metal tag on our bag for American Airlines.
Yes.
And he kind of looks at like show up his phone with a ticket, and his ticket, like his e-ticket's got like a black like flag. Mine has like the irregular old like American Airlines. He's like, see, I'm gold status or I'm whatever. I'm whatever he is, right?
But what a great advocate he is for the brand, because he is being rewarded with his loyalty to the brand and those subtle signals that he sends out saying, I'm worth it. I believe that others could enjoy this as well, right? But
Yes.
with the reluctant and removed, what's really important to know about that, whether you have team members or clients who are reluctant and removed, is what they need to be able to hear is how you will save them time, money, or hassle.
Okay,
So,
that's me.
because the reason the reluctant and removes aren't thinking so much about luxury is because their plate is so full. Now, a luxury lover, it's not that they don't have a full plate. It's just they prioritize
Yes.
luxury. The reluctant and removed doesn't. So in a relationship, the challenges then becomes, which one is more influential? You might be surprised to learn that the luxury lover is the most influential of all four mindsets. They can persuade a reluctant and removed, they can encourage a pro-prioritizer, and they can absolutely align themselves with a confident content. So, and it's not because they're trying to be a brat, they're not trying to show off, they're simply saying, because you're worth it, this is the investment you make in yourself.
Oh yeah, it definitely stretches a reluctant and remove for sure. So now
Mhm.
I'm going to tell everyone go take the assessment, then go have your teammate take it or to have your partner take it. Like that might be kind of fun conversations too to like
Yeah,
navigate like how, worthiness and thoughts and luxury and experiences and all that stuff.
right.
So cool. So in the book you introduce the experience elevation model and then the 5 levers. So can you go into that a little bit?
Of is most of the CEOs that I work with want two things. They want to be able to increase mind share and market share. And because I consult on this so much, how do you capture the attention of new clients and sometimes clients you already have, existing ones? But then
Mhm.
how do you eventually get those same clients to become advocates for you? So those advocates become an extension of your marketing team. Knowing what I knew about all the brands I work with, I was like, okay, the experience elevation model does everything from capturing attention so you can stay top of mind, all the way through to being able to drive revenue so you can be top of market. So what I
Mm.
did was based on all of the processes and the systems of elevation I was already teaching and watching applied to the variety of industries I serve, I realized that the 5 levers, if you can implement them as a leader or in your business, you automatically drive revenue. Here's why. The first level is entice. This is where you're really trying to capture the attention of clients you want to work with, or maybe even recapture the attention of people who've worked with you before. This is where we use strategies and systems of elevation like storytelling, collaboration. And think about this as a leader, being able to position yourself and articulate your value is the story that is really important. This is entice. The
Mhm.
second level is invite. At invite, you're demonstrating your expertise. This is where you want to be able to have a sense of belonging. Like, I want to invite you into my brand, invite you into my team, invite you into my circle. That's part of that luxury experience. Then we move to the third level, which is one of my favorites. This is excite. This is where you need to be able to not only demonstrate your experience, but elevate it so that you are creating share worthy experiences. And one secret to that, Jen, is leveraging the 5 senses. And that's when it gets
Mm.
really fun as a brand, a personal brand, or as an organization. Then we go up to delight. So often we hear people say, surprise and delight your clients, but no one knows how. This is the playbook. This is where we're really using strategies like show me you know me, making people feel seen and heard, learning from some of the best brands in the world who do this. And there's a lot of examples, obviously, in the book. This is where you're also offering some sort of exclusivity where they are so excited to be working with your brand or your personal brand. And then at the top is ignite. And this is what everyone wants. This is creating advocates for your brand. This is being able to educate people on referrals that are really good for you. This is about being able to host exclusive events and be able to have this incredible opportunity where people are asking, oh, who else can I tell about my experience of working with you as a leader or you as a brand? That is those 5 luxury levers. Behind every single lever, there is a key question to be asked. There is a key deliverable about experience.
Mm.
And there are a lot of systems of elevation and examples that you can read about in the book.
So can you use in like unhealthy cultures? I'm totally using this as a selfish example because I'm in it right now. So if you have like disengaged employees or
Mhm.
disengaged teams, or can you still use the levers in those to like get
Yes.
them to the place of ignition, like that top level?
Yeah, for sure. Because think about that bottom level of entice. One of the things that your team is asking is, what should I pay attention to you?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to captivate their attention. You have to be able to tell the story, whether it's the origin story of your brand or the story you're all rallying behind of why they're adding value into the organization. And then I also think you've got to be able to, there's this key strategy in this particular first lever of creatively collaborate. So we have to think about some really creative
Mm.
ways that we can get things done. So yes, at that first level for sure. When it comes to entice, what we're asking the team to then think about is, okay, sorry, invite is like, okay, one of the strategies in there is to roll out the red carpet. So what's the red
Mm-hmm.
carpet experience for that team member? And sometimes we are really good at front of house. In hotels, the front lobby, everything looks beautiful. But
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing for back of house? Does your front of house match your back of house? So your team is being taken care of as much as your clients or your customers, your patients, your guests, or your students. And so one of the things we can think about with engaging teams is the simplicity of looking where they're working, their workspaces, our lunch areas, the facilities they use. Some of the clients that I work with have paid special attention to the ladies' rooms because women notice those extra toiletries, the scent, the cleanliness. So sometimes it's also about the practical application of these systems. Hospitality is a system of care. Like, I love hosting people in my home. I think that is so special. I think hospitality is having a moment right now. If you've read any of the work by Will Guidara with Unreasonable Hospitality, he and I were talking this week, and he and I were saying his book is like a love letter to the hospitality industry. Mine is the playbook of how you implement everything. And so what we can do as teams is we can say, well, what do I want the experience to be of me as my brand, me as the leader of this team, or me as the leader of this organization? And that's where these levers absolutely can apply.
God, I mean, like so many things are coming up for me. So I'm a C-suite leader at this time, right? So like who I'm surrounding myself was really important, who the managers are, right? Because I was just thinking of front and back of house. So let's say that I have this great, like inspirational conversation to my staff, but then the managers aren't helping reinforce it. Or,
Right.
and it doesn't have to be any, it could be any organization, right? Where it's like not consistent communication, or we
Mhm.
don't do what we say we're going to do, or we say we're going to recognize you in one way, but we're tone deaf and we don't do it. Like, let's say you want to be recognized privately and we throw you on a stage and you're totally mortified because we don't
Mortified.
know who you
Mhm.
are, right?
Right.
It's almost like when have you ever gotten those emails where it's like they forget to do the mail merge and it's like dear space comma, you know?
Oh, what's amazing is they were intentioned. They just didn't actually, they weren't intentional. So I think one of the things luxury brands do so well is personalization and customization. And so one of the things we talk about in this book is systemized thoughtfulness, right? You can put systems in place to be thoughtful. In the same way, you can, I say communication is like the amuse bush. If you go and have a dinner somewhere, the chef sends out that little tasting, that a little amuse bush before the meal, just to surprise you and get your taste buds kind of
Yeah.
all ready for the meal they're going to create. On the Luxury is a Mindset website, we have downloadables of both digital and analog communication ways you can elevate the things that you're doing from a communication point of view as well. As a leader, we have to be really conscious of the experience people have of us, the voicemails we leave or the voice notes, the texts we send, the video messaging, the emails, the team, the Slack messages. There are so many touch points where we could elevate that for our team. But I think people are so overwhelmed and they get a little lazy and thought less. I'm suggesting we need systems to be more thoughtful.
So systematic thoughtfulness, I really, really like that. So it's not, being like every day it's manual because our time is valuable. So this really is the evolution of your work as I'm thinking
Right.
about it. Because you talked about
Mhm.
like the whole attention pays and time
Correct.
management and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And now you're like, yes, your time is valuable, but so is creating a luxury experience. So you're
Right.
not wasting your time by doing the same like ABC steps like every day. Why can't you create a system for it?
Yeah, and remember, I'm asked to consult and to keynote on stages about how you can differentiate your brand too. So if we're trying to elevate the client experience, that's my expertise, client experience, elevating it. And so you can't do the same thing everyone else is doing because you'll never get attention that way. You'll just blend in. But what I want people listening to this to understand, it doesn't have to be expensive. There
Hmm.
are easy ways that you can systemize thoughtfulness. How about a handwritten note to that team member who did something amazing? I guarantee you people hang on to those notes for their bosses. Perhaps it's using people's names so that they feel seen and heard by you. Perhaps it is recognition at a team meeting and a shout out on an email distribution. Like, there are so many ways we can be thoughtful out in our teams and out in the world that don't have to cost anything. Using people's names is a no cost attention grabbing strategy, but we love it when people use our names. There was a very famous book written in the early 1900s by a fabulous gentleman by the name of Dale Carnegie, and he said
Hmm.
this: He said, a person's name is the sweetest sound.
Mm.
And so I think that what we want to do is we want to really make sure that luxury, the way we make people feel, is that we make them feel seen, heard, and valued. And there are so many no cost ways you can do that. And we outline those in the book, obviously. But if your viewers and listeners want to go to luxuryasamindset.com, they can download some of these resources for free. They're already there.
Oh, awesome. So I'm thinking of now you're getting me to kind of reflect on one of my calling cards of thoughtfulness. And I do it completely organically. It's not like it's perfunctory, like I have to say this to this person and this person. So if someone is just doing an amazing job, I have this like gratitude, like this swell of gratitude as a leader. So I'll go to that employee and I'll get like, right, like we're talking and I'll smile and I'm like, Neen, I just want you to know I really appreciate you.
Mm,
You know, it's free. It's free. And people know like that's my thing. Like I'm like, I can't tell
yeah,
you how much I appreciate you on my team. I can't, I mean, you
yeah, Jen,
really,
that's powerful.
you know, because
That's powerful.
how many times are they getting someone like people don't say that, right? So they just go home and, you know, I'm a
Right.
mom, right? Like my kids aren't like coming to me every day going, Mom, I so appreciate you. You are just like making my world like light up, you know, like they just don't. Like we take each other for granted.
Yeah.
Bosses and leaders take, you know, people for granted. So I
I
don't know why and when I started doing that, but I feel it makes a difference. So that's why I keep going.
But if you've ever experienced a lovely meal, or if you've checked into a hotel you love, or if you've ever been in a retail store where you feel like they're really taking care of you,
Hmm.
they are great role models. Those brands, what they're doing is they're taking care of you. They're looking you in the eye. They're giving you their undivided attention, like you're the most important person who's checking in or purchasing something. And that level of care, that hospitality being a system of care, is something we can all extend very easily. But in order to do that, we have to put down some of our devices occasionally. We have to
Mm-hmm.
be able to turn off our computer when we're having a one on one with our team member. We have to make sure that we are managing our attention so that we're giving the gift of our undivided attention to whoever is in front of us, whether it's the barista making your coffee, the valet parking your car, the
Mm.
executive that you're giving an update to, or a team member that you're doing a one on one with. Your gift of attention and time and energy is one of the greatest luxuries.
Mm. So that goes into some of your earlier work, but I think it all like flows through here. So I don't know if you've thought about this. I'm sure you have. Is there a tipping point? So now I'm throwing in the word tipping point from Malcolm Gladwell, right? Like,
Malcolm,
is there like a tipping point where it's like this goes from like an everyday experience to exceptional? Is it based on like the percentage of raving fans? Is it based on like, you know, increased revenue? Like, or is it based on whatever the leader or the business decides is exceptional? I just didn't know if there was a tipping point you've thought about.
Will say something the other night, Will Guidara, and he said it's not one size fits all, it's one size fits one. And I
What does
like,
that mean?
well, think about it. Like, I am just taking care of you in our call right now. That's just you
Yeah.
and me chatting. There is nothing else more important in my entire world right now than this conversation. That's one on one. One size fits one. And I think sometimes we're looking for metrics or tipping points
I
when what we
see.
have to do is we have to get back to saying, how do I make this person feel, this client, this patient, this guest, this student, this member feel right now that they are the
Mm.
most important part of my business or my team. So I would encourage people to, instead of thinking all the way out there, I would start with what can I do right now to elevate the experience in this moment in time? Because what you may not know, Jen, is when you pulled that team member aside and told them how grateful you are, they will play that conversation over and over in their head. And especially on days when they're tough, they're like, yeah, today's tough, but Jen sees me, she gets me. There's a ripple effect that occurs when we take that time and make that investment. And I think what brands need to be really aware of is we have so many choices to elevate experiences. Every touch point is an opportunity. Now, we know when something's not luxury.
Of
We
course.
know when the lines are too long or the bots are not giving us the right information or things are broken or dirty or feel uncomfortable. We know what luxury is not, correct?
Yes.
In the same way as leaders, we know when we're not being our best leader. We
Got
know
it.
when we're not showing up in our most powerful, polished, most exceptional professionalism. We know when we're doing it. We hope people don't see, but we know. And I know you know this because you counsel people on confidence and imposter syndrome, right?
Yes.
And so I think what we want to think about is, let's not worry. It's not that there's not an important thing about metrics. There really is. I think you can easily track that when people are starting to pay attention to your brand, they start to invest in you. It's very easy to tie in mind share and market share, because if you're top of mind and people constantly want to advocate for your brand, they are referring people to you. Therefore, they are your marketing. Look at how social media is used. Look about referral services. So all of these things, obviously, we talk about in the book. But I think what we can control right now is how we invest our time, attention, and our energy.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to tie in a little bit of the work I do as like a loose tie to the work you do. So on the leadership side, if you aren't confident, right? If you are suffering from imposter syndrome, as we all have, right?
Sure.
You're not showing up as your best self. So that means that it's probably going to be difficult for you to provide a luxury or an exceptional experience for a person, correct? Like, could there be like a domino effect here? Like, or can someone that doesn't have confidence or who struggles with imposter syndrome, like I've had those moments and I'm low, right? So I'm not feeling worthy and I'm not trying to, I guess I am. I'm trying to like see, is there any connection between confidence and how you show up as a leader and how you deliver experiences to your people?
Yeah, and I go back to that statistic. When I found out from all the people that we interviewed, 60% of them said that luxury made them feel more confident, like they could step out into the world because they realized they were worth it.
Yes.
I do believe that, let's talk about women in particular, okay? And I know
Yes.
we have gentlemen who listen to this and people who don't associate with either. So whatever your pronouns are.
Yes,
There
of
are
course.
some people who have an element of a facade, meaning they can appear to be confident, even if their confidence is really shaken, because they have enough techniques and practice in certain language pieces in the way that they dress themselves. But that doesn't, I still don't think they're in the world serving themselves the best. You know me, I have always said I walk into every room and I assume everyone wants to play with me. I have done that my
True.
entire life. People want to be more brave, walk into every room and assume everyone wants to play with you. Because what that then does is it shakes that imposter syndrome that says, I'm just here to serve everyone else. I'm just here to be the hostess with the mostest. I'm going to connect people. I'm going to make them feel really comfortable and welcome. And you don't have to be an extrovert to do this. It's not about having all the conversations. It's about having a quality conversation. Doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. So if you're trying to shake off the imposter syndrome, the first thing that I would say to you is make sure that you can walk into a room feeling like you look great. Because if you feel like you look great, we know that the packaging, the clothes we choose to put on our body, the things that we do, maybe that little bit of lipstick if it makes you feel fabulous, whatever it is, being able to walk into that space like everyone wants to play with you. It's an assumption that we see little kids have it and somehow we lose it as an adult. That's what I'd love everyone on this podcast to think about is how do you walk into a room and assume people want to play with you and then create a sense of belonging so you're welcoming everyone in together.
Mm. So if you take the shift, like it's not about you. Like if you said if you just make
Yeah,
the assumption that you're
yeah,
there to support or help or play or this and you
yeah.
just assume people are going to accept you, the chances are they probably will.
Stages all over the world. I do virtual presentations. I've done 10 people in boardroom and bajillion people. And people always say to me, do you get nervous? And I'm like, no, you can't be nervous if you stand in service. My job, Jen,
Mm.
is to stand in service of whoever is in that room. And I believe whoever's in the room is meant to be in the room, right? And so I don't think of it as a presentation. I simply think of it as a conversation. So if you want to be more brave when it comes to the way that you are presenting, whether it's entering a space or doing a team call or maybe doing a presentation or sitting on a panel or whatever it is, don't think of it as a presentation because it's not about you. It's simply a conversation and it's about all of us together. So it's not about me. If I thought about me, I would get nervous. And I don't worry about my audience either because it's not about them either. It's about this combined experience we're all going to have together. So you can't be nervous if you stand in service. And that has helped me my entire career to not have that nervous energy that we get. It's not that I don't care. I do. I really want the audience to have fun and play and learn and grow. But it's just a conversation that we're having. Sometimes the conversations with thousands of people, sometimes it's with 10.
Okay, so I have to ask this because some people might be like, well, Neen's been doing this for so many years and that's easy for her to say. So did you always have that, right? Like where you always just assumed, it sounds like yes, like you've always just assumed you would come in and like, let's play.
As a kid, I would be the kid at school who'd be like, oh, there's somebody by themselves. Let me go and say hi so that they don't feel lonely. At Sunday school, I'd be the person who would like, I'll do the reading. Like I was constantly like volunteering, putting myself out there. So yeah, I am that person anyway. But here's the thing I want people to realize. I've worked with so many executive women who may not have had that characteristic, and I've been able to help them do it because it is a skill. It's not a will. You can learn how to do all of these things. So if you get nervous when you present, there are techniques for that. If you don't feel your most confident self when you walk into a room, there are techniques for that.
Yes.
I promise that these are just things that you add to your leadership toolkit. The reason that exceptional experiences are so valuable for leaders and brands is because it's something you can put in your leadership toolkit. Whether you're leading an organization, leading a team, or you're leading yourself, maybe you're serving on a board or serving in your community, maybe you're running your own home. But what I did was I made sure that all the strategies apply, whether you're a brand or a leader. And I call everyone a leader, Jen, because we all are.
Yeah, we are. So let's say we talk about like the bank of relationship, the bank of trust. You can either deposit or you can take away. So
Mhm.
let's say as a leader, let's use that example. Like you had an off day, right? And you really did not deliver an exceptional experience. Can you just apologize, right? Like I've actually been vulnerable with my people and be like, yeah, I was really off that
Yes,
day. I wasn't feeling well or whatever. And I think that people like
100%.
that more. And then I come back
Yes.
the next day and give them an exceptional experience. Can you do that? And is that okay?
You 100% can, but you can also be proactive. There are times in my calendar that my team call the silly season because in the keynoting world, spring fall is my silly season. I fly from one event to the next, and it's a lot, right? And I could be giving 5 presentations over 5 days to 5 completely different audiences,
Wow.
which means I'm at capacity, right? In my decision making ability, I'm 100% surrounded by people all the time, right? So when I'm in my silly season, we have some guidelines in our team. I don't make major decisions on the road. I don't want to know about anything before I step on stage. We don't deal with any admin until I'm like back at my hotel or in my Uber or at the airport. So what you can do is you can proactively say to your team when you're about to launch a project, or if you have some major high profile things, you can say to the team, we're going to have some shortcuts. You won't get the hi, how you doing? And the email won't be very long. My text messages will be very quick. It's not that I don't care about you, but in the silly season or in this project or until this deliverable is completed, we're going to have team shortcuts. Are we all okay with that? So the team know I'm not
Mm.
going to send them a thank you email when I'm on the road. Thank you emails are a waste. But one of the things that I think we all need to have in agreement is when you're in a team environment and there are some people who are under a lot more pressure than others, there are ways we can help each other out. And sometimes communication shortcuts help that. So my team and I we have this luxury manifesto for my company, and
Oh.
it's all the things that we stand for, the things we value. And so we really want to make sure that everyone is aware. But whenever someone says, I'm in my silly season, we all know what that means. So I think it's just creating shortcuts. Proactively as a leader, you can do it. But if you make a mistake and you don't give an exceptional experience, be the first person to own that, because that authenticity, that transparency, that integrity is what your team will remember.
Mm. Okay, because in that, even though you gave a poor experience, you rebounded by giving an authentic one. Therefore, they may see it differently on the other side of it.
Yeah. And don't save it up. Like, don't wait. Like, if you screw up, own it, address it, move on. Right. In the same way with a team member, if someone does something that is not in alignment with what your brand and your team goals are, pull the person aside, have their one on one. Don't wait for their performance review in 4 months and say, you know, that time when you did this? No, you need to be able to address it now. So, what I want leaders to think about is stop saving up this list of all the things people do wrong and wait for their performance review. Address it in the moment as a strong leader and just say, this is where I thought this wasn't on brand for you. Or can you explain this a little bit to me? Help me understand what was going on when this occurred, because you never know what's going on for people.
Hmm.
So address
Okay,
it in the
so
moment.
yeah, so I have one final example is I just hosted my first conference, co-hosted with some amazing people. Some, I'm going to shout out Hunter Street Press. Hope Mueller, Stephanie Jung of Women Within Reach, Jackie Satera of Jackie Satera, her productions, and then Natalie Benamu of her C-suite were like the main people. And I have this thing where I have and I'll call myself out, right? So we're in the middle of this like crazy event and I have like, I'm out of body, right? Like I'm an out of body experience, like where I forget things. And like, I forgot to mention one of these gorgeous women's brands and I hurt that person, right? So I'm calling myself out, but it wasn't intentional. Like my heart is pure.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
one thing I just learned in what you said is like really be clear and have that communication up front and understand that, hey, if you miss that, don't catalog it for postmortem for later. Like tell me right now so that I can make the change right then rather
correct.
than
And
like
make it right if
watching.
you can.
Make it
Yeah,
right now, right?
yeah, that's
Because
right.
I didn't know until after. And then here we go. And I'm like, oh man, I can't go back and like have that
Yeah.
happen. Right. So there's just a like kind of a vulnerable example where you could correct things in the moment if you can.
Yeah, I think so too. And look, let's remember, everyone is cataloging everything that happens every moment of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what we need to be really conscious of is I think that means we should also elevate as leaders, knowing that everyone has a camera, everyone's recording everything. And so, what we want to be conscious of is when you leave your home environment, you are on show. You are a role model as a leader for your community, your church, your temple, your workplace, wherever you are showing up. And so, what I want people to think about is how can people have an elevated experience of you? So if you are showing up with a luxury mindset, then they will have a luxury experience.
Mm. Okay. So I wanted to bring in this before we wrap up. So you have this luxury mindset, the executive summary. So
Yeah.
why would you say it like because maybe someone's new to the luxury mindset, right? Because you said you're the first one that's ever done this, which is super cool.
Only research study of its kind in the world.
I know. So like no one, everyone might be like, I want to learn more. I want to go find Neen. I want to find her hot pink all over her website, right? Whatever.
Yes,
So
you are.
why should they read that summary? Is that a good starter for them?
So, and here's what's an advantage. You can go to neenjames.com and it'll take you to the luxury mindset research, or you can go directly there to luxuryisamindset.com. What I want to
Okay.
encourage everyone to do is take the 5 minute self assessment because it will also give you additional links and information. It'll tell you about your style. But the benefit of the executive summary is you see a snapshot of the research, which will help you when it comes to making decisions and leading no matter what role you're in.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna have like so many links on this show. Like you're gonna like get all the luxury, all of it, right? So you mentioned this last time, but it was like 200 episodes ago. So we're gonna ask this question again. So now, Neen, what are 1 to 2 ways that women can be braver at work in like today in 2025?
Let me reiterate, walk into every room and
Yes.
assume everyone wants to play with you. And the
Yes.
second thing I would say is remember, you can't be nervous when you stand in service. So next time you need to do a presentation of any kind, don't think of it a presentation, think of it as a conversation. And then you and I are just chatting today. Think of the same thing when you're presenting, no matter who's in the room.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So, okay, the book again, Exceptional Experiences, and she's holding it up if you're on YouTube. It's gorgeous. It's like gold edges. It's got gold, like, multi-dimensional like letter. Oh my God, it's so pretty. And the champagne cork. You can't miss this one. Exceptional Experiences, 5 luxury levers to elevate every aspect of your business. Neen James, where can they find the book? So when is it coming? I know there's many forms that are coming out. It's coming out, I
Mhm.
think, is it October 14th?
Correct. October 14th in ebook, audiobook, hardcover book as well. And one of the things I would love people to do is when you get the book, take a photo with it and then use the hashtag champagne moments because I think champagne moments are things that bring you joy, make you happy. Take an ordinary moment and make it extraordinary. And so, what I'd love you to do is if you use the hashtag champagne moments, I'll see it and I'll be able to reshare it.
Oh, absolutely. And then at the bottom of her website, she has all of these like bonuses that are just awesome, right? Just awesome. So I'm not going to tell you all of them, but there are levels of like these fun bonuses. I love them. I'm a marketer too, so I love these ideas. So I was just like, I'm going to steal these ideas. Not the champagne angle, that's yours. I'm going to leave it with you, but I love all of the bonuses. So go check those out. And so you said neenjames.com is like, and
Yes.
then you
And if
have
you want to
all of
go
it.
specifically for the book, neenjames.com/book. books, I think with an S. And then it tells you all my books, but all of those packages you're talking about, all the champagne packages.
Yes.
Definitely encourage you to buy a copy for you and your team.
Okay. Neen, I'm so excited we did this. Thank you for
Me
all the
too.
wonderful
It's
work you're
so
doing.
fun.
It's so fun having you back again. And I wish you all the best with the launch. And we will hopefully have some people that'll say like what they are after talking about the assessment. And then we can share them out in the world and
I
like
would love
celebrate
that.
them.
So
Thank you.
great to see you. Thank you for everything you do, Jen.
Well, that's a wrap on my discussion with Neen today. I hope you found our conversation both valuable and inspiring. Here are a few questions to think on or journal on until next time. So, if you did the quote unquote homework and you read Neen's luxury research and then took the assessment, what is your luxury mindset? And how does that mindset show up in your life and your work? How can you use the luxury levers that you heard about today as a leader, no matter what your level, what your stage in your career? And how can you incorporate a bit more luxury into your everyday? I love this question. So for me, that may mean, and it's like small little luxuries, like having a candle, like a really beautiful, clean burning candle, or I'm getting into like weighted blankets. I don't know. Those are like little luxuries for me. A special pedicure, a chai tea latte. What about you? What is your little luxury that you can incorporate into each and every day? Because I believe if we incorporate those little luxuries, we're going to be happier, we're going to be more joyful, we're going to be better, badder, braver as a result. So as a reminder, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The show is also available on any other podcast platform you enjoy. Until next time, show up, lean into luxury, and be brave.